Hey everyone, welcome to the recap of the Walking Dead universe. We are here every week to discuss the latest episodes. You can catch our episode reviews at any time, available on most major podcast platforms. Get new and past episodes for free in the app of your choice, including YouTube. Today we are covering Fear the Walking Dead Season 8, Episode 10. For those of you joining us live tonight, thanks for taking time out of your evening to be here. I am your host, Tamara, and I love a good TV show and a good book. If you'd like to reach out to me, you can find me pretty much everywhere at the Recap Pods. And if you're into books, you can also find me at Shelf Addiction. Joining me is show co host Lisa. Welcome, Lisa.
Hey Tamara, hey everyone. My name is Lisa Orban. I am an author. I am also the founder of Indies United Publishing House, and I love all things pop culture. So if you would like to connect with me online, you can pretty much find me everywhere at Lisa Orban Author or at Indies United Pub.
All right, so before we get started, we'd like to remind you that we would love your participation in this conversation. So if you are listening live on YouTube, hit us up in the comments section. If you're catching this on a replay, you can still comment on any platform, or you can call us using the voicemail link in the show notes. If you're new to the podcast, we are laid back in our review style, right, Lisa?
Absolutely, Tamara. This is a conversation, not a dissertation.
Exactly. No scene by scene breakdowns here. We jump around. And of course, huge spoiler alert for everything, every show in the world through yesterday's episode. So if you're good with that, this is the place for you. And let's jump into it. What'd you think?
Well, it was an episode.
That it was.
People did things.
Uh-huh. People did stuff.
and
Said
there was
stuff.
and there was shooting and fire and lots of useless drama. It was a show.
That is true. That is true. And I'm with you there. I'm sitting there watching like, ugh, why? Ugh. But if I had to give the show one positive thing, it would be thank God, thank the Lord. They did not go with that dumb theory of Alicia is this kid's mother.
Oh, but they strung it out to the bitter end, didn't they?
Yeah.
I mean, all the little clues about when she was born, how old she was, the medallion she was wearing, yada 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 yada. And even the chick that she pointed out, there's Alicia. It was her mother that looked similar too.
Yeah, she was in the wheelhouse. But instantly when I saw her, I'm like, her hair is not that dark. It's
Yeah.
like I just knew it was not her. Like before she even was shown to us, I just knew it wasn't. But one thing that didn't make sense is if this is her mother and not Alicia, clearly, why is the woman's arm cut off?
That is a very good question.
Like, why did they do that? Why did Troy cut her arm off? For what?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know why anyone is doing anything at this point. Because simple solution is to sniper Troy
Mm-hmm.
and, and then mop up the rest.
You're like, just kill him already.
I really don't understand. I don't understand what's really going on.
Mm-hmm.
And we have everyone doing insane things. Like, all right, fine, Victor kidnapped the kid, whatever. Was it a great move on his part? Probably not. But these guys thinking that somehow giving this kid back to Troy is going to make him leave them alone?
Stupid.
Stupid. And then we've got Victor taking off her blindfold. Remember the lighthouse. Oh my lord.
Well, look, I mean, I a little bit understand why he did that. He really wanted to make it so that it was now impossible for them to hand her over. Because you're not going to now.
Right. But at the same time, now what are they going to do with the kid? Because now they're stuck with her. Or they have to kill her. And obviously, he could get away because he got away.
Mhm.
If it was that easy, he could have just jumped over the side, even with his hands bound,
Yeah.
and did what he did. Basically, disable the boat and jump over the side. He
Right.
could have done that without taking off her blindfold if what he was concerned about was his own hide.
Mhm.
And I don't see why he has a sudden concern for this kid because, Troy's been keeping her alive for 7 years. I don't see why he's going to stop now.
Well, okay, so mentioning Troy taking care of this kid, yes, he does take care of the kid. But when it came down to him making a choice of trading this child or fighting, he chose to fight. He
Yeah,
didn't choose the kid. So I'm like, clearly, this is not his blood child. It can't be. Why? And if it is, oh my God. I mean, the fact that he does this to any child, but, let alone his own child,
yeah,
like, you just chose to have a fight that you probably wouldn't win instead of trading to get your little girl back.
right. And honestly, instead of radioing him on the boat, they could have done it from the island while she was still safely ensconced on the
Mhm.
island
Mhm.
and made the deal.
Mhm.
And you know, and they definitely could have had Victor a little more secure, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
And we all, they know, we all know that his number one priority is saving his own butt. So having him just sit there loose with just the zip ties on his hand, seriously, guys, you know how dangerous this man is.
Mhm.
That was just dumb. They should have had him secured to a pole or something.
It's like they love to underestimate him or something. Like it's like they understand. I mean, June said it. I saw you. I know what you did. I know, so they're not dumb, but I don't know, maybe they are.
They are. They're all dumb. Okay, that's where I'm at right now because one, they never should have. This negotiated deal that they're making is stupid to begin with. All right, they could have, they could have stayed on the island and said, "Listen, you guys turn away. We'll pick a location. We'll drop this kid off to you if you move on." And they're like, "Well, there's still the matter of we have no place to live." You have the hotel. You have the resort that was really, really nice.
Right.
So, no, you don't actually need some place to live. You have some
Go
place to
back and
live.
fix what you've wrecked.
And then, the fact that, all right, fine, I don't know. Then we got Madison, who's absolutely obsessed with finding her daughter after all these years, and it doesn't even, she's dead. All right, I get it. It's troubling, whatever. She's dead.
Mhm.
Every person on this show have lost children and parents and siblings and spouses. They've all lost someone or at some point, if not everyone. So the fact that she is just losing her mind after basically giving up on them for 10 plus years is just stupid. She has
It
put
is.
people in danger. She has, you know, threatened everyone's little colonies, all so that she could what? Find her and kill her? Or,
Yeah, she wants to put her to rest, which
put her to rest?
I mean, okay, so honestly, I kind of get that, but I don't understand the method that she's like I don't understand the madness of it. Um it seems like that's something she can do after she squared away the current imminent danger.
Yeah.
She doesn't have to be doing this right now.
Well, and the thing of it is when she talked to Morgan, Morgan told her that both of her children were dead.
Mhm.
All right. She was okay with it. Not okay, but she accepted it. All right. And now all of a sudden she is losing her mind. Why? Because it was Troy that killed her?
Yeah, supposedly that seems like that's the catalyst, right? But it
You
doesn't
know,
make sense. I mean, I wouldn't just right off believe him anyway. Why would you just
right.
believe him? I would more likely believe what Morgan told me I mean, I
Yeah.
guess that still makes her dead, but I I don't know. I just wouldn't have let him enrage me like
Yeah.
that.
Well, and I'm here to tell you, I love my kids. I would be devastated if I lost a single one of them, much less all of them. But in this kind of situation, I would mourn my children, but the living are the priority. You know, I'm sorry, but a body is a body. And
Yeah.
once you're gone, it doesn't matter. She's not going to rest any easier on the ground or wandering around.
Yeah.
You
So,
know,
can I
and
just say real fast before we go off the rails a little bit? Like when she was standing out there playing the music to get the walkers to come to her, I guess this was her quick sort, option.
yeah,
I'm like, she out here with this stupid sledgehammer, someone who has a difficult time breathing.
uh huh.
Why is that? That doesn't seem like the smartest thing. And like, where she like the oxygen tank is just sitting somewhere on the ground. This
It's on her
girl,
back.
is it? Like,
Yeah,
I don't remember seeing it on her back when she was swinging on those things and smashing heads.
yeah. Because remember, shortly after Victor showed up, she reached over her shoulder and grabbed the
Ugh,
mask and
it's
took
still
a
stupid.
breath.
I feel like why put yourself through that? Why do that?
I want to know where she's coming up with all this oxygen.
Unlimited supply, apparently.
It's like a video game. I mean, really. I mean, oxygen is. I mean, oxygen's all around us. Don't get me wrong, but it is a little difficult to manufacture pure oxygen.
It is.
And it can be done, but it generally requires things like electricity and equipment.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just wandering around. And have you ever used a sledgehammer?
I have not, but I know the thing is heavy.
Okay, I have. All right, I have knocked down things with a
Mm-hmm.
sledgehammer. Um, and I'm here to tell you, it is an awkward thing. I mean, when you get into a rhythm of things, it's not too bad, but it is high intensity.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Truthfully speaking, unless you're, Luke Cage, 5-10 swings, you're getting a little winded.
Yeah.
And it's part of it. I mean, because the whole point of a sledgehammer is it's really heavily weighted on one side, so when you bring it down, the weight of
It
it,
pulls you.
yeah, propels you.
Yeah.
But the beginning, the bottom up to the top of that arc,
It's heavy.
it's effort.
Yeah.
And even keeping control of it on the downward side, because you have to keep control or you're going to lose it. So the fact that she's using something that heavy just doesn't make any sense. I mean, at that point, she'd be better off with a quarterstaff.
Hell, she'd be better off with a fucking pocket knife.
She would be.
Um, just stab that thing in the head when it gets close to you.
Or, I mean, she could always use I mean, if she really wants to do that, she could go with a mace. Maces are heavy, but don't require as much effort,
But
and you
that's
can
the
spin them
thing.
and stuff.
We know that these walkers are old, decrepit. It does not take a heavy item to bash their head in. We've
Exactly.
seen people stump their foot.
Yeah.
So you don't need the heavy power of a sledgehammer to do the job. You just don't need it.
Right. You don't. And for someone who is oxygen deprived, where every breath is effort,
Mm-hmm.
this is a terrible weapon.
Yeah, it's a bad idea. So let's say you get out of breath, and so what? Your pack's on your back. I mean, for some reason, let's say you're on your back and you can't reach it,
Yeah.
or something happens and your cord gets tangled. I mean, any reason. This is a bad choice. Like that, you would need to grab oxygen at any moment
Yeah.
because you're swinging a sledgehammer around.
And this is not a close range weapon.
No,
I mean, the closer an object is with that sledgehammer, the harder it is to control the thing.
that's so
It's
stupid.
it needs legitimately distance. It's not like a knife. It's not versatile like a quarterstaff. It's not. even trying to use it as a quarterstaff wouldn't work because it's so heavily weighted on one side.
Yeah. I don't
Even
know.
Morgan's stupid axe quarterstaff thing made more sense than this thing does for her.
Yeah. I don't know. They can't make a lot of this stuff make sense, and I think that's my biggest problem is when I see blaring things that don't make sense. I'm like, "Oh my god, that is like the biggest issue for me." So, when this little girl Tracy leads them to where quote unquote Alicia is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that does not make sense. Why do you entrust this dumb little girl? What makes you think she knows? Number 1. And so you do follow her, and where in the hell are you where it's frozen?
Yeah, I was wondering that myself.
Because it didn't look frozen in the previous scene.
Well, and we don't know how far they've gone, but
It
you're.
makes it seem like it's that afternoon.
Yeah, I know. And I mean, I'm trying. So they're down in Louisiana,
Mm-hmm.
somewhere in Louisiana. They're somewhere in the bayous. And while it will occasionally get a cold snap through there,
Mm-hmm.
they are rare. And we this because they all freak out and they don't have anything to clean their roads with or anything. If they even get a light dusting of snow, um, you got to get up like above Montgomery, Alabama. That somewhere in that parallel to really start worrying about freezing, or
Mm-hmm.
somewhere around Montgomery. As someone who's done a lot of traveling north and south, uh, Montgomery is usually that parallel right there is about where you have to start worrying about freezing. Unless you're up in like the foothills or something of Tennessee or Kentucky.
Okay, but we know that Troy was using that as like a holding place, right?
Mm-hmm.
He intended to use those walkers to take over the hotel. I mean, or what you call it, Padre.
Padre.
And so it's not that far. It's not that far.
No.
Um, and I think for it to have that type of frost and for it to permanently stay frozen, I still don't think they're north enough.
No, they're not.
Even if it freezes overnight, it's going to thaw every day.
Exactly. Um. Yeah. I mean, for them to be for it to be soggy enough for them to have gotten stuck, but cold enough for them to be frozen. It's not Louisiana.
Another thing, make it make sense, people. This is the dumbest thing to me. It's so stupid. It's like
Mm-hmm.
they're just trying to like get some cool stuff, throw it in the pan, and let's just do it because it could be cool.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, because I know Louisiana and those adjacent areas, they don't. I mean, they get occasional freezes, but that's what they are,
Mm,
occasional. And they don't last for very long. I mean, it gets cold down there. Don't get me wrong; it can get cold, but it doesn't. It doesn't generally dip to freezing.
I mean, and that's a hard freeze where the feet can't move.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in New Orleans in January, wearing a short sleeve shirt and capris,
Mm-hmm.
and I was comfortable. I mean, it got a little brisk at night, but I mean, we're talking like 50, maybe 40,
Mm-hmm.
and that's January.
Right.
So, I don't know. I don't
It's
understand
stupid.
this. Yeah. I mean, it would have been better if they had, I don't know, put them in a corral of some
Like a
kind, or
valley or something. I don't know.
yeah, a
Ugh.
quarry. A
Yeah.
quarry would be good. They
Yeah.
could have let them down into a quarry and then blocked off, them getting back out. You know,
Something, anything besides that dumb stuff.
yeah. And obviously, they're all supposed to be stuck, but now they're like getting themselves loose. So,
Right.
you know, now that it's convenient for them to get loose, they could have gotten loose at any point, apparently.
Yeah. But now it's the perfect time. So, ooh, it's thawing.
Yeah.
Fun. Oh
And
my
and why would this
gosh.
kid even know where Alicia is?
She can't know. That's why I'm like, okay, so we find out that that's the child's mother, which I kind
Mm-hmm.
of thought. I'm like, obviously they think that Madison killed her mother. That's what I thought.
Right.
And the explanation that the child gave was the dumbest shit I ever heard. So, because they were symbols or things they believed in, that her mother believed in, now it's her fault that her mother died?
Yeah. That everyone deserves a second chance, and that's why your mom is dead.
And so now you deserve to die because she believed what you said and
Yeah.
she thought like you did? That is the dumbest. I was expecting, oh, you killed my mother, you stabbed her, you shot her, you did something.
Yeah.
But
Something.
no.
It was, and how does she even,
She's
because,
too young. How does she even know?
well, there's that, and the fact is, so the implication is at some point this woman came in contact with Madison. So, from where we don't know, from maybe the farm. And I don't even know anything about the farm except for what they talked about on this episode.
It might not even have been directly. It could have been her video.
Right, could have been her video. It could have been anything.
Mhm.
So, how is this Madison's fault? Because another
No.
person chose to follow her philosophy.
Which honestly, once I started trying to consider how could that be her fault, it made me wonder if Troy's just lying to the little girl. Like, honestly, Troy killed her mother and was like, "Oh, it's Madison's fault."
Yeah,
Like brainwashed her or something.
and that's definitely a possibility as well. And the fact that, I mean, if this woman meant so much to him, why did he leave her in a herd of walkers?
Yes. And why did he cut her arm off?
Exactly.
Give two rats ass about that lady. He probably didn't even know her that well. I am convinced that it was pure accident he came across this kid and he decided, okay, I'll look out for the child.
I do. I do wonder why he gave her that necklace though.
That was creepy. Maybe just another feeding into his delusions, you know? I don't know. Who knows what he told her about that necklace?
Right. But it was uh, Alicia's because what's his name? Victor gave it to her. And he's flipping out because of the necklace.
This doesn't make sense. So why would Okay, so let's think about it at the most basic level. Okay, so Alicia thought like her mom, and you blame her mom for your mother's death. Why would you want to wear the necklace that belonged to Alicia? What would make you think that's a cool thing to wear?
I don't know. And, I mean, she didn't seem surprised when
No,
Victor said, that this had belonged to Alicia because he had given it to her.
right. She wasn't surprised, not at all.
And I don't know. I don't get any of this. And I guess he's been doing sort of whisperer thing by bringing this herd across the country and just decimating everyone with it. We can't find a home.
I'm sorry. These dudes do not seem smart enough to be able to pull that off successfully.
I know. So I don't know if they're intentionally just baiting them to keep them following behind,
Mhm.
or what the deal is, but apparently they're using, because I guess he used a horde of walkers to take out the farm.
Yeah.
I don't know. I only know that because of what's his name talking about his daughter's death. She chose to stay behind and try and save the farm.
Yeah. I don't know. It just all is loosey goosey with the plot,
Yeah.
with the
Well,
motivations.
and then we have everyone showing up at the gas station. All right.
Yes.
And so, and I guess that she had most of her people, or all the people, hidden off here and yonder. And then Troy just struts on up. I'm going to take your stuff. Um, at that point, that you can't tell me that there's not one person in that entire group that couldn't have been a sharpshooter and shot that man in the head. Because we've already established, everyone has agreed, everyone's established, everyone who's interacted with him has said the exact same thing. He can't be trusted and he's psychotic. So
Yeah.
why not just shoot him in the head? Don't negotiate with him. Kill him.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. None of it does. And I know they're trying to stretch this out. And I think they would have done it more successfully if, like you said, like, what if Troy was always heard but not seen, but for a handful of times, right?
Right.
That might be harder because you can't catch him. You don't know where he is, type of
Well,
thing.
and they could even, it could be one of those things where, you know, they get rumors that someone is decimating communities along the routes that what's her name's established on
Mm-hmm.
our trucker routes. Hey, there's
Mm-hmm.
some kind of new menace. There's someone coming up. You know, we don't know who it is, or maybe they do know who it is. It's Troy, but they can't quite find him.
Right.
But he's just, you know, killing off people's left and right. You
Mm-hmm.
know, swaths of communities. At that point, then all the communities, her, you know, the Padre and all the other outlying communities have a reason to get together to stop this guy.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I think that would have been actually a little more entertaining than all of the, because they're all just fighting each other at this point. No one is agreeing on how anything is supposed to be done. Everyone's accusing someone else of just not doing, you know, right by someone else. And oh my God, get it together.
Right. It's a mess. And honestly, you know what? None of thinking about this whole cast, right? All the individual characters, with exception of, I'd say, maybe Victor and Madison, they're a little more copacetic, but everyone kind of hates everyone.
Yeah,
Everyone. Like, everyone's got their problem with someone else.
yeah. And that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. There's all this. So we got the German people from, you know, from the resort. You know, they don't trust the people from Padre,
No.
and you know the people from Padre are having issues because of Strand, and then they're going to turn over Strand, which is going to cause a whole bunch of more issues because you know they've got all the people, all the Germans there now. Um, what did they think was
Ugh.
going to happen with
Oh
that?
wait, so I guess June and Dwight and Sherry, and like, are they the only adults in Padre? Because when they came back, June's like, "Oh, you think you're gonna leave me here without somebody watching you?"
Mm-hmm.
But yet, then the little girl, Dove, I think her name is, she goes, "We, the kids, could have been in charge, basically." And Victor's like, "Your kids."
Right,
So
but they had been in
oh,
charge.
I get that, but were there no other real adults around?
I
Were
don't
they it?
know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't
Because
know.
if Victor is the only, him and his friends are the only adults, then of course, naturally, he's going to come in there and do what he sees fit.
Right.
And his
Now,
family and friends are going to follow his lead.
now I know that you know those parents that were picked up by uh guy with the hat, the beanie,
Oh,
the killer,
Daniel? Yeah.
Daniel. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we know Daniel had gathered up a group of parents. We know those group of parents did join Padre.
Mm-hmm.
There's what, maybe 25 of them or so.
Yeah.
So there's those. And the implication is you know, after they've been in charge there and sending out this message, hey, we might have your kid, come check it out. Um, yeah, I would assume more parents had shown up because there was a lot of them wandering around out there looking for their kids.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also possible that some of them, after they retrieved their child,
Yeah,
left.
totally. You might not
Um,
want to hang around.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I mean, there could be 50 to 100 adults. It could just be the kids that haven't been claimed yet. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't have a good grasp of who all is there exactly, which kind of makes all of this other stuff still not make sense, really? Like, how could Victor and his people just come in there? Because it didn't seem like it was that many of them either. Like, eh, when they were at the
I don't
resort,
know.
it seemed like it was a lot, right? Enough for them to have a whole like sports team times two.
Yeah.
But then when we see them now, I guess they're just around. We don't really know how many people they have.
I don't. Yeah. And with the implication of there was school and there was sports teams, teams, not team.
Yeah.
That implies that there was, at least what 30, 50 kids there to have teams and have multiple teams in which to play against.
It's so stupid.
I just I don't know.
So
I
dumb.
mean, and I would assume that everyone, they took their kids to Padre to mix with the other kids
Right.
at Padre, but I mean, when they did that first walkthrough of the resort, I was estimating at least 200 people.
Hmm.
And the reason for that is just because of the amount of activity, and everywhere we looked there was someone different. So there were people working in the garden, there were people in the kitchen, there were people serving food, there was school teachers, there were
Unless all
people
of
out just
those were
wandering.
Victor's people.
I mean, I'm just talking um at the resort.
Okay. Hmm.
So I would estimate probably about 200 or so.
Hmm.
And along with quite a few kids. So, because again, we've got teams of sports playing at this point. I think it's all soccer, but even still, unless you're going to keep playing the same team over and over again, which I suppose they could do, but it sounded more like there was several of them when they were talking about it in that first episode. And I don't know,
Well, that makes
but
sense
now it's
that
like
those
this,
people would implant then on Padre. And I guess
yeah,
they went right to work, canning peaches and everything.
exactly. But as far as the rest of the adults, I have no idea. We haven't. That was actually our first look at Padre this season,
Right.
and we don't. The implication was there were more people there. There was a ton of kids
Mm-hmm.
because when they did that first pass through, showing us Padre, all the training grounds and all the different kids and the different sections and the team leaders and this, that, and the other. I mean, there was a ton of kids, like 500 or more.
Yeah, now it doesn't seem like there are that many.
So, and that was, and apparently there were satellite facilities because they sent Finch to one of the satellite ones. And there was a hospital off, away from Padre somewhere, which they haven't even mentioned
Mm-hmm.
since then.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's going on with that, or why the medical personnel hasn't all just been pulled back to Padre, or what the deal with that is. But there was a whole medical facility somewhere,
Yeah, I don't know.
and there was the train too. But that was a whole different thing.
Yeah, I can't even. I don't know. So
Yeah,
so
but
honestly, I want to talk about some or more mess that I don't quite grasp. Okay, the Alicia fan club.
uh-huh,
Um,
it's cosplay in the apocalypse.
I Okay, so these women, they say that Alicia told them stories of Strand before Troy killed her.
Uh-huh,
And they act and dress like her to, quote, keep her alive.
uh-huh,
What? And then in the same breath, the one girl says, well, I didn't know her very well. I just knew her for a moment, right? She constantly
uh-huh.
moves around. So, what in that moment? Why? I don't understand. Like, when,
Well, Alicia got her antibiotics,
yes,
saved her life.
okay, that's not enough for me to change how I dress and look and act.
I know.
That's like almost cult like vibes, right? But she wasn't even around that long to impress upon them to that extent. So
Yeah.
this doesn't make sense to me.
Well, and
Like, y'all
and
crazy?
the fact that, well, and the one girl was talking about there's marauders coming in and trying to take over their community, and what, she single-handedly went in there and whipped their butts?
I guess.
I don't know. I mean,
Sound like she was better too.
yeah, you know, and because he asked if she was still sick.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't know about that. Well, you know what? You could look at her and see if she was
Like,
sick.
did she look like death walking or not?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
did she perk back up? I mean, was she pretty active, or was she, looking really, vampire-y? We need, inquiring minds want to know.
Absolutely. That whole thing. I mean, he's in the van or whatever that thing is called. He's in there asking questions. And I'm like, the heck is going on here? Like, I don't know. It just felt like a waste
Well,
of
and how do they
time.
even get that? And how do they even get um, the vehicle back?
I don't know. I mean, did they just want to show the vehicle again to kind of remind us?
I don't know. I mean, and they had it loaded with ammo, but apparently they used it all to kill those walkers on the road, and then they're out of ammo, and they have to go get some more ammo. Where are they going to get more ammo for that
I don't
thing?
know. I don't even think they care because all they want is for people to believe that Alicia is still out there helping, you know, keeping her memory intact and all this stuff. But again, why?
I don't
Why?
know.
I am all about people's motivations for doing things, and her helping them in their own ways is great. I think that's excellent, but I still stand by the fact that is not enough for the average person to just be like, I am just going to pretend that I'm doing deeds as Alicia and we're just going to fake it like she's still alive.
Right.
Who thinks of that?
Well, and no offense to anyone out there, but the fact that Strand thought the black lady was Alicia for a minute makes me wonder about his eyesight.
I don't know. I guess the clothes was enough
Because,
to do it. I don't know.
yeah, but you can't tell me that she's the only person that puts a hoodie
Well,
on.
she has that thing on her, that contraption on her hand as well.
Yeah,
And his
that's
first
true.
instinct probably was, who else stabbed someone in the head like that?
Okay, I guess I'll give you that one.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that makes sense. But when he was looking up at her, it wasn't until she took the thing completely off her head.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not Alicia. Good call. Good to be able to see that you can tell the difference. Good to know. Good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, none of them honestly resemble her that much, aside from the fact that they apparently had their own little arm thing in memory of her.
Oh my God. Let's go looking for clothes and metal things to stick to our hands so we can be like Alicia. That sounds like the dumbest. Ugh.
Like I said, cosplay in the apocalypse.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's exactly when they unveiled their particular storyline.
They just want to add more people so they have more people to kill.
Yeah. And in the fact that, we listened to Madison's tape so much that it broke. Madison's tape was okay, but honestly, there were better ones.
Yeah, there were.
Morgan's actually was pretty good.
Yeah. But they were obsessed with Madison's tape because that was Alicia's mother.
His mom. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there was actually, because I remember some of those interviews, and I mean, she had some really good ones.
I would love to see Althea again.
Yeah.
Didn't she took off with her girlfriend?
Yeah. From up there with the CRM.
Yeah, I would love to see her again, by the way. Like,
yeah.
That I liked her character, but we won't. She's gone.
But yeah, and the thing that I don't understand is Alicia didn't leave with the MRAP. And that thing had been left, well, about a season or so ago, because it basically became defunct. They couldn't get gas or whatever it was. It was left behind. How did these chicks find the MRAP?
I don't know. And how did they get it going?
How did they get it going? I mean, as I understand, if I remember correctly, they left it locked so no one else could get in there. You had to have one of the keys, and I don't recall Alicia having a key.
Yeah,
I don't
neither.
think so. This isn't a vehicle you're probably gonna just jimmy and hotwire. I mean, I suppose you could, but not more than once or twice, because hot wiring things isn't a good permanent solution. So I don't know. I don't know how they got the machine. I don't know how they. Nothing. It just doesn't make any sense. And how would they even know that the MRAP was out there? I mean, I guess Alicia could have told him, but at the same time, God's sakes.
I know.
Effort, man. Effort.
I know. I'm telling you, honestly, none of this stuff makes sense. Like, none. And that is my whole problem. And so, to be fair, I mean, this episode wasn't boring, right? It wasn't boring. I was entertained enough, but I couldn't get past how stupid everything was.
I'm going to be real truthful. I had to pause it a couple different times and go do something else, for a little bit,
Uh-huh.
because I'm just like, I can't handle the stupid.
Okay. Mhm.
It wasn't so much that I was bored
Mhm.
as I was irritated.
Okay.
The stupid was strong.
It was. It honestly was. I don't know
You,
how the showrunners talked people into doing this dumbass storyline to end it. I don't know how they did it because this
I don't
sounds
know.
so stupid.
Well, and then when we go back, let's go back to, the shootout at the OK Corral gas
Oh
station.
gosh, right?
And again, so no snipers were used to get rid of Troy.
Mhm.
And then apparently, even though these guys were massively outgunned,
Mhm.
they decided to open fire. And yet, Troy survived. What's his name? Had a gun directly on his face.
Yes.
And you're telling me he missed?
I know. That sounds crazy, doesn't it?
And they were outgunned by the time the other people showed up. It looked about at least 2-1, if not 3-1.
Yeah, because they were coming out like from all sides.
Yeah, they were completely surrounded.
Yes.
And yet somehow, and the excuse it was like as if they didn't care if they lived or died. Well, great, kill them.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how. I mean, so Troy did lose some people, right? They did kill some of his people. But I agree with you. How did Troy not at the very least get severely injured?
And I guess they stole a vehicle. Well, okay, good, I guess, whatever.
Mhm.
It wasn't the semi.
Mhm.
And I don't know. You see some casualties on both sides, but honestly, and where did all the fire come from? Why was all that fire?
I don't know.
I mean, fire needs to start from something. I don't know. I don't understand the after scene.
Mhm.
We didn't see the fight.
Mhm.
And hang on a second, I got a cough. I got a tickle in my throat. It's killing me. Anyway, we didn't see the fight, but there wasn't really all that much flammable stuff around there. I mean, it's an empty parking lot, for God's sakes.
Which, by the way, I just want to comment that I'm kind of disappointed we didn't see the fight. I feel like that was kind of a cop out.
Yeah. And so we pop back to it, and we have overturned vehicles and things on fire.
Mhm.
How?
Mhm.
From a gunfight.
They
How?
spent so much money on the stupid frozen walkers they couldn't show us. But yeah,
I don't get it.
show us. That's how they need to make us get it, but they didn't. They just skipped it and said, "Here, this is the result. Believe it."
Right. And none of that layout made sense, because like I said, with the overturned cars,
Mhm.
did somebody have grenades?
I don't know.
It doesn't make any sense. And the fires and the flipped over cars and the additional destruction, I from guns, none of that should have been able to happen.
Mhm.
So and because we didn't get to see the fight, it's hard to say. I mean, I suppose they could have had grenades, but they haven't used them up until now, as far as I know.
Yeah.
So I don't
I
know.
don't,
None of it makes any sense. And again, we still go back to the whole Troy. We need a home. You had a home. Apparently, you've had many along the way, because now they're hearing the kind of rumors of, from the women and stuff, basically Troy going through and decimating entire communities.
mm-hmm.
So he could have had a home. But instead, they're, and I think that's just his excuse, no matter where they end up, because as soon as they come in, they're like locusts and they destroy the place. Well, I don't want this place. It broke it.
Okay, so I
Because you
can
broke
kind of
it.
okay, so I could maybe give them the pass on some of the stuff if I was getting satisfaction out of the other storylines. But unfortunately, nothing is hitting. Nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm not even convinced. Well, I do feel like more than ever that Alicia needs to be alive and she and her mother need to come together. But I don't think if that happens, it's not going to be in any satisfactory kind of way. We're not going to be satisfied with it. Whatever
Right.
they choose to do, the audience is going to be like, what a letdown.
Yeah.
So we're not getting it there. Maybe Troy will finally be dead at the end of this and we can get some
Well, you can only
satisfaction
hope.
out of that after dragging this out for episode after episode after episode. But I don't know. I feel like the only way this show can end and not feel like total BS is for all these people that hate each other to go their separate ways. Is that
Yeah.
rude? Is that mean?
Well, I mean, the hostility between the groups honestly doesn't even make any sense. I don't understand why what's her name is so mad at the survivors from Padre, because she was working for Padre too.
Yeah, I don't know.
They were all working for Padre. You can't be holier than thou if you're all doing the same thing, except for her going, "Well, we were building, the roads," and the fact that these are our roads. You can use our roads, dude. There's roads everywhere. Get over yourself.
Right. But I
Uh,
could see Luciana and Daniel going back to their little corner, you know,
yeah,
um, the other three, June and Dwight and Sherry, them staying on Padre, and Victor, his husband and son, and that group, they may stay or they may go. And of course, Madison leaves and she finds
yeah,
Alicia. That's how I see it ending. I don't see a happy family type meal or anything crazy like that at the end for this group.
no,
I don't see it.
no. Well, and even the whole vision of what Padre was supposed to be, we've established now in this season. Even with all those cargo containers, even with all those supplies and the mandate to rebuild civilization, this is what they're doing.
I know. And honestly, the fact that they keep regurgitating the fact that they're doing this for Alicia, this is Alicia's dream. I'm kind of sick to death of hearing that as well.
Well, because before Alicia died, it was keeping Madison's dream alive.
Everything they do, right? First is Madison, and now it's flipped to Alicia because even when Madison was about to kill Tracy, she's like, oh, I feel like Strand was like, Alicia wouldn't want this.
Right.
What?
They're always doing all these things. Oh, well, we have to keep Alicia's memory alive. Well, great. Alicia's memory was to build communities. You have all those flippin' cargo containers. You have an entire cargo ship of cargo containers full of supplies.
Mm-hmm.
And the only one that that's done anything with any of the cargo containers is, Luciana. Seriously? And you guys have done what in the last 6 months to a year, or whenever it was, however long it was from the last time we checked in with them?
Right.
Have done nothing
Mm-hmm.
other than Madison sending out those stupid repeater message. We have your kids, maybe,
Right.
you know,
Right.
and that's it. They haven't To the best of my knowledge, they haven't established a new camp anywhere else. They haven't made contact with any other groups. They haven't brought any supplies. They haven't even supplied Luciana with anything. She's using the ones that she found.
Yeah, and if they are, it's not a priority for the story to be told to us because it doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
But if this whole, oh, this is what Alicia would have wanted. Alicia would have wanted them to build all of this. And they would have been like, again, even if they didn't show the building, they could have said, we started, we helped this community and all these other communities, and we're all banding together. And then Troy comes along. And again, it could have been Troy going through and starting to trash all the communities they've helped. And that's when they come in. That, okay, fine. But this is just dumb.
Yeah, it doesn't really, it's not hitting, it's not making sense. I don't know. I don't even have really, I mean, other than what I just said about the group splitting up, I don't have any predictions or excitement for these final two episodes. I'm curious to see what's actually going to happen versus what I think is going to happen, but I'm just feeling like it's going to fall flat.
I have no expectations because no one has done anything that makes sense this entire time.
Yeah. And
no one's acting rational or making logical decisions or even survivor decisions. They're just, do you ever see Manoa?
Moana?
Moana, thank you. With the chicken, the little chicken that runs around and just kind of keeps running into things. That's what these people remind me of right now. That chicken.
And I feel, honestly, I feel bad for the actors because I don't think they're doing a bad job, but they just have this stupid, these scripts.
Yeah.
They only can work with what they're given. And the story isn't good. The story is not good. It's not gelling.
Nope.
And I feel bad for them. Like, you guys are going out like this.
It kind of sounds, it almost feels like an AI wrote the program.
Oh my God. I hope not. But you never know.
I mean, it just, because that was part of what, the whole writer's strike and everything was about, was shows like this, starting to turn to AI to make the scripts. And if they did that, I wouldn't approve, but at least it would make sense.
I don't know. I feel like the AI isn't that advanced yet. It would need a lot of work, a lot of tweaking.
Oh yeah, but you don't. Oh yeah, but this is a whole big thing now because they're writing books and Amazon and everyone else we're all scrambling to keep AI from legitimately publishing books.
Well, you know what? It's even come into the podcast arena because I was on a podcast group and someone had posted that they had published several AI created and AI voices podcast. And I listened, one voice I couldn't tell and the other I could. But it's kind of taking over everything. Like, people aren't even writing their own podcast scripts anymore.
Well,
it's wild.
We had so New Technology, one of my authors, was the very first one to beta test this thing. There's a company called Bookselfie, sorry. And they have an AI book reviewer now. And I listened to the book review. I listened to it because they do it live on a streaming thing on Saturdays. And it was fairly insightful, but a little creepy. Because you're not with the AI. It's not a matter of programming. It's they dump the book into it and it tells you whatever. So yeah, AI is really they're getting there. So yeah, I don't know. But anyway, the script is just bad. It's just bad.
It is bad. And it's really unfortunate because I don't know. I'm ready for it to be over.
Yeah. For the amount of money that AMC dumps into this show or all these, into this universe, you would think that they would pay for good writing.
You would think, but I think that they're kind of getting, and they have been, right? Because none of these shows have really been very consistent. Not in my opinion. Even the newer
They haven't.
spinoffs, it's not been like a 5-star full season. But some have done better than others. Like Gerald
Yeah.
Dixon has been better than others. But
Yeah.
even in the flagship show, it was not consistent throughout. So they
Yeah.
really kind of struggled with consistency in this world with the writers and the plot and pacing and everything, all the things they've kind of struggled with.
It's you can pretty much tell when they ran out of source material.
Yeah.
Kind of like on Game of Thrones. You can definitely tell when they ran out of source material.
Yeah. And now they're trying to make up their own and it's not going.
Well,
Yeah. Yeah.
honestly, what they should have done is they should have just hired the comic book creators to continue the story.
Or maybe they should have just stuck a little closer to the story instead of trying to get rid of actors.
Yeah.
Um,
So
Maybe.
I don't
I
know.
don't know.
It's it's a whole thing, and yeah, I'm looking forward to the ones who live, but I am ready to be done with this particular show.
See, I'm also feeling excited for the ones who live, but or the ones that live, whatever it is. But I am also nervous that I don't want to have this expectation that it's going to be good, or have this expectation that, oh, I heard that Danae, what's her whole name? I can't think of her whole name right now, but the one who plays Michonne, she's written
Yeah.
some of the script, I hear.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard, some of the other people we like, have come through and directed some episodes. So I don't know. I don't want to get excited and think it's going to be great. I mean, the bar is set, with us having
Mm.
Dead City and then Daryl Dixon, the bar is set. And it's kind of high, so I hope it doesn't crash and burn. I really don't want it to crash and burn.
Right.
I'm hoping, but I'm really trying to adjust the expectations so I can enjoy it more.
And I will say this from the very beginning, Fear the Walking Dead has always struggled. They had a few stellar seasons in the center. Well, not stellar, but they had good seasons in the center. But and I will say that up until the time they killed off Madison, it was crap. And it was pretty good after she was dead, and now that she's back, it's again crap.
Yeah.
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 I don't like her as an actress, or at least in this, I don't like this character anyway. I never understood why people scream so much to bring Madison back because I've never liked her as a character. I found her annoying, and her with Victor, I found really annoying. And yeah, I don't know, and I did even in the season before this when they first brought Madison. Oh look, it's Madison. You could almost it's almost like it just hollowed everything else out.
I know. I agree. I wasn't excited for Madison either. And I was not in the whole Twitter sphere of people who really loved Madison. So I didn't see a lot of that on my feed because that's not my people.
Right.
So I didn't get the excitement, but I was kind of like, okay, if this is what the showrunners want to do, then maybe they know something I don't. But it didn't, in my opinion, I would have been just fine without her in the last
Oh yeah.
episodes.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I don't know. I guess we've got next week. We get a double header,
Yes. So plan
and then we'll
ahead,
be
plan to watch ahead in case it's hard. Yeah.
and and then we'll go from
My
there.
plan is to watch Sunday morning just in case it takes me a few hours.
I'm gonna have to do it Sunday afternoon. Because I technically work on Sun. Excuse me, I work on Sundays.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So we'll see. I'll fit it into my schedule somehow. Even if I have to stay up half the night and drink a lot of coffee, I'll do it. But
You're like, I'll do it, but I won't like it.
that's right, kicking and screaming. I'll be watching it.
Oh my gosh. I guess we'll have to see. We'll have to see, right?
Yep.
So wish us all luck. I wish you guys luck too. So hopefully
Yeah.
we'll
When we meet up next week, tell us how you feel.
Yeah, please do. Leave comments on this one. If you're listening on Spotify, you can actually leave comments within Spotify on this episode. Let us know what you think. Let us know any I guess theories you have, what you expect to happen. Leave it all. We'll include some of your comments. Yeah, let us know. I'm curious. So I think we're done for today. What do you think, Lisa?
Oh God, yes. You know,
It's been a fun hour of complaining. This has been our thing lately. We just complain for 60 minutes.
you know. Well, there's some commiseration going on
Yes,
there.
there is.
You know,
So
we both suffered through. You all suffered through with
I
us. You
know,
know,
because yeah, you're definitely here with us. If you're listening to the end of this episode, you feel us.
you feel it. You feel it.
Yeah, so thank you for listening to the entire episode. And don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you are listening because we'll be back again next week and you'll want to get that notification. Also, if you enjoyed this discussion, leave a 5-star rating wherever you are listening. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Bye, guys.
Bye bye.